My name's Marcus Coates. I live and work in London at the moment. And I work in many different mediums: film, performance, drawing, video, sculpture, I don't know, everything really except painting at the moment. All these ways of working have a central concept really, which is the idea of becoming animal to see what humanness means in a way, to try and really see what being human is about. And that's in a cultural way, in a physical way, lots of different ways. And more recently, I've been looking at animals that are very, very different from us to try and really explore that gap. One part of the work really looks at where the idea of becoming animal has been used in other cultures. And one of those ways is through a shamanic tradition, the idea that the shaman in the community works on behalf of the community by using the skill of becoming animal to enter into a spirit world and talk to animal spirits or communicate with animal spirits. And this information is very useful for the community for healing, for hunting, for everyday problems. So it's a very practical role that a shaman takes. And so I equated this role of the shaman with the role of the artist, really. Well, the works in the collection are quite recent works. The first one's Human Report, and that was made in 2008, 2009, which are made on the Galapagos Islands in Ecuador. And these are uninhabited islands, apart from one island which has lots of people on. And there's a very serious political situation between the people who live there and the conservationists who are trying to preserve the nature there.
Pero lo que yo no entiendo es por qué han colonizado esta isla, que no tiene agua recomendable ni abastecimiento de comida. No promete sobrevivencia, porque ustedes encuentran difícil adaptarse a las condiciones locales. Esta es una forma precaria de existir. De todas maneras, no se preocupen, no están en peligro. He visto muchos otros como ustedes en otras tierras. Si todos mueren, estarán bien. Más humanos arribarán e iniciarán una nueva colonia de apareamiento.
I offered to make a news report for the local TV station on the situation really on the islands. I dressed up as a iconic bird of the islands, which is this blue-footed booby. And this report really was about what I learned from people there, about how they were living there, but also opinions from the conservationists about why people perhaps shouldn't be there. So I was trying to really bridge that gap and say things that were too politically sensitive for either the politicians or for people to say. It was just too dangerous. So I felt like I had a role there as an artist and as an artist trying to be another species. That seemed helpful in this situation. So from the perspective of the bird, I could say quite politically sensitive things. So the photographs in the collection are all of insects and other animals that we consider fairly lowly or insignificant, really, that we don't really feel like we have a connection to as humans. And that's part of the challenge of really portraying these animals in terms of a self-portrait, which is me covered in this material, trying to become this particular animal. And one of these animals is the mayfly. And I've covered myself in dough. It's just flour and water, huge amounts of it, and it just drips off me. So this is a state which is never permanent. This stuff is just falling down. So the photograph just captures one moment during this metamorphosis as this dough travels down my body and creates different shapes and forms. And it really is about that. It's about this state in between, this state that can't be defined or fixed between myself and this very transient animal, this mayfly, that's only alive for maybe a day. All these materials have in a way, their own life. And when I'm standing there with shaving foam on, or dough, or cotton wool, I have no control over what form it takes. I have an assistant who helps me put these things on, but they are not sculpting it, they're not forming it. And in that way, it has its own sort of life or will, in a way. It makes its own shapes, its own form. So when I'm standing there with this stuff on, I am internally trying to be that animal. So subjectively, in my mind, I've probably got my eyes closed and I'm experiencing what it is like to be that animal, or trying to. And I'm being that animal not through a mimicry, not through impersonating that animal, but just by believing I am that animal. So that's why photography is important, because it's a moment in time with this material. It's not me acting like that animal in a film or making the sounds of that animal. It's just me standing there. So I'm giving you the minimum possible as an audience to try and come out of yourself and project this sense of, okay, this person believes he is that slug. He believes he is that butterfly. Can I perhaps even start to believe in that as well?